Uh, Hello everyone. We are uh, discussing the topic of complex ADTs. ADTs means abstract data types. Before coming to the concept of abstract data types, let us try to understand the concept of abstraction. Abstractions means we are not concerned about what is happening inside the details of a process, but we just want to use the process properly, and that is the concept of abstraction. And that concept of abstraction is applied in C and in other programming languages to study different data types. And the very primitive data types such as integer, real, character, pointers, and so on, they are that simple example of the abstract data types. They are available in most of the languages, and they are the simple and primitive data types. And every abstract data type has some properties and has some operations or functions which are related to its uses. For example, in teacher, real data types, they can be added, they can be multiplied, they can be used to find the remainder or modulus. They can be used in very arithmetic logical operations. So we are not interested in how that operations are carried out, but we simply declare two numbers, for example x and y, as initialize them with some values, says x is equal to 10 and y is equal to 20, and then add them. The plus is a operation which is used for that data type. So abstract data types, the simple example of abstract data types are integer, real, character, pointers, which have been implemented in most of the programming languages. In addition to these abstract data types, depending upon the complexity of the problems which we are solving, the type of data which we are implementing, we have many complex data types, abstract data types. For example, list, queue, stack, and these are the different data types. And we, in this particular class, we will be discussing what are these abstract data types and how these abstract data types, uh, abstract data types, have been implemented in C language. So let us come to the definition of the abstract data type. An abstract data type is a data type packaged with the operations that are meaningful for the data type. Just we have given the example of the addition of two numbers. Okay. So the take home lesson is we can encapsulate the data and the operations of the data and hide from the user. The how the operations are carried out, that are hidden from the user. The user just use some operations, just use some functions to manipulate or deal with that data types. Okay. In abstract data type, we have three different points to discuss: definition of data, how what are the different type of operations we can perform on that data, and how the data is encapsulated, and operations and data are encapsulated to make them abstract in terms of the user. The first abstract data type which we are discussing today, discussing in this particular example, is stack. But before discussing stack, let us try to summarize diagrammatically what we are talking about, the operations and data structures. Okay. So if you see this bubble, it has two different parts. The lower rectangle, which is shaded one with the blue color, cyan color, that have the data structure. The data can be stored in terms of array. The data can be stored in terms of list. The data can be stored in terms of record, stake, queue. Any type of data structure can be there. And each type of data structure has some operations associated with it. And depending on the privacy of the operations can be public and or they can be private. And both these data structure as well operation, when they are clubbed together, when they are bundled together, they form what is called the abstract data type. So I discussed above also, abstract data type means the data structure, how the data is arranged, as well as what type of operations may, while public or private, what type of different functions, what are the type of different operations which we can perform on that data. So they combinedly collectively they are known as the abstract data types. So but abstract data types, they interact with the application program which uses these different data types. So let us come to the first part, a data different data structure before implementation of the data types. Let us try to try to understand what are different type of data structures available. The first data structure which we are trying to discuss today is the stack. So stack is a restricted linear list. Stack, if you remember, something piled one after the another. Okay, and this stack is a restricted linear list in which all the additions and deletions are made at one end, the top. Whether we want to add something new or whether we want to remove something from the stack, we have to do from the top. Only one end. It's we call this principle as last in, first out. The end, for example, if we are stacking the coins or stacking the books, the last book which is added, that will be the first to be removed. So that's why it is called last in, first out, or LIFO principle. Okay. So what type of this is the structure, data structure of a stack. Now what are type of operations which we can perform on the stack? There are four basic operations which we can perform on stack, and they will be very easy to understand because we have already discussed the concept of arrays in in Perl, and in that concept of arrays we had discussed push, pop, shift, unshift functions, and that is something similar as the implementation of stack. So in stacks in general, not talking about Perl, but in stacks in general, there are four basic operations: stack, push, pop, and empty. The stack operation is the operation is a function which creates a stack, empty stack, and this is a diagrammatic representation how stack will create an empty stack. Empty stack, the push operation, it will add insert elements at the top of the stack. For example, push will be followed by the name of the stack and the data item which we want to add. So this is the basic operation which is used, functional operation push s comma num. These are the two elements of the function. S is the stack name and num is the data item. And this is how top is equal to top plus one, because when we will adding one item, the size of this push array will size of this array to which we want to have a add a push operation will be increased by one. Okay, so if we see diagrammatically, means we already have stack with item 78 and 20. We want to add a new item, data item 30, using the push operation, and it will add it at the top. So the stack will become 20, 78, and 30. This is the concept of push operation. Similarly, to push operation, we can also delete the elements of the add, and as the functionality of the stack, if we last in, first out, the last item which we are added, that will be removed first from the stack. So if we use the pop stack name and data item, and it will create for example, if this is a stack before using the pop operation, and if we use a pop operation, the first element, that is 30, it will be removed from the stack, and the stack will be again reduced to the two elements stack. If we want to delete, or if we want to undefine all the elements of the stack, we have to just use the command empty, operation empty. The empty checks the status of the stack, whether the stack is fill or empty, whether stack has contains some values. If we want to check that, we have to use the function empty. Okay, so these are different operations on the stack. A stack is a data type. If we want to define stack as an abstract data type, so the definition will be a list of data items that can only be accessed at one end, called the top of the stack. Operations available: stack creates an empty stack, push insert an element at the top, pop deletes element from the top, and empty check the status of the stack, whether the stack is empty or stack is having some particular type of value in it. Okay, how we implement stack, I have just mentioned about the concept of arrays which we learned in Perl in the last semester. In that we use the concept of stack. We implemented the stack concept of stack using arrays. So we here also we can implement the concept of stack using arrays or the linked list. We will discuss about linked list in a short while. And so array implementation and linked list implementation, these two implementation have been shown here. This is a stack data type, and this is how they are implemented in form of the array using the indices of the array. And this is how they can implement it in the list. In linked list, if you remember, there are two parts of the item. The first part, that the red one which is shown, is the address of the array, address of the item, and the blue part contains the elements. Okay, so the address, they are connected to each other one after the another, and that's why this is called the linked list. All the elements are linked to one another by this address tab. After stack implementations, the concept of stack, let us come to the second very important data type, data structure, that is called queues. Okay, queue is a linear list in which data can only be inserted at one end, and that end is called rear, and deleted from the other end, that is called the front. So in comparison to the stack where we can add and delete at only one end, we have two ends. At one end we add the data, that is called the rear end, and from one end we remove the data, that is called the front end. Okay, and that's how this concept is also known as the first in first out, because uh, the first one which was added at the front end, that will be removed first. Okay, because we are adding the item from the rear end, the item which was first added here, that will be removed because we are removing from the other end. So that's why it is called FIFO instead of LIFO, which was there in stack. Okay, queue has also some operations. Their basic operations are queue, which is used to create a queue, empty queue, enqueue, dequeue, and empty. These are four operations which we used on queue. Or queue operation, as we use the stack operation in stacks, queue operation creates an empty queue. We just need to mention queue in as a arguments. We have to give the name of the queue which we want to create, and this is how it works. Okay, then there are two operations, enqueue insert an item at the rear end of the queue. And how it is implemented, if we see diagrammatically, let's see, it's a queue before with elements front 20 at the front and 78 at the rear. Enqueue will add one item, and that item will be added at the rear end, so the new queue will be 20, 78, and 34. Okay, DQ is something opposite to NQ, but operates at a different end of the queue. DQ deletes item from the front of the queue. Okay, and if we have the queue original queue with element 20, 78, 34, if we use the operation DQ, the front, the first front item, the element 20, for example, will be removed from the queue. Okay, empty is another important command as in stack operations, and this is used to check the status of the queue, whether the queue is empty or it has some elements. Okay, queue as an abstract data type, we can define it using all the four operations: queue operations, queue in, queue d, queue empty. And by definition, a list of data item in which an item can be deleted from one end, called the front of the queue, and item can be inserted at the other end, rear of the queue, and this is a queue abstract data type. Queue has different applications. They have been applications in the business world, for example, online business application, processing customer requests, job orders, and for example, railway ticket booking, and all these things. They are the part of the queue, the part of the applications where queues are implemented. Okay, there can be some examples. You can go through these examples later on. How queue are implemented? As tags were implemented using arrays and linked lists, queue are also implemented using either arrays or what we call as the linked list. So this is the implementation of the queue. This is a queue abstract data type. And array implementation, we again use the indices here to implement the concept of queues. And in linked list, we use the concept of linked list as discussed just now. that the linked list has two different sections, one the address section and the data section, and we are trying to implement the queue using the list of either using the concept of either linked list or arrays. After coming to the concept of queues, let us now discuss another abstract data type, which is called the linear list. Linear list stacks and queue, they also have been defined earlier. They're also just like a list, but only thing is that in stacks we can add the item at the one end and also remove at one end, whereas in queues we can add the item at one end and move the item from the other end. We cannot insert any item, we cannot delete any item in between uh, and the arrangement of queue or, for example, stack. So many times we need to insert something inside the particular data set, or want to remove some element from inside the data set. In such a cases, we need the concept of what we call as a linear list. Okay, a general linear list is a list in which operations such as insertion and deletion can be done anywhere in the list, at the beginning, in the middle, at the end, wherever we want. We can implement the list. We can use the operations of insertions and deletions. Okay, this is a diagrammatic representation of a list. Element 1, 2, 3, element n. We can add any element in between any of the elements. We can also remove anywhere from the link, uh, from the journal list, from middle, from start, from end, from anywhere else. Okay, what are the operations which can operate on the list? There are six operations list, as discussed in terms of stacks and queues. The list is the operation which can create empty list. Insert, delete, retrieve, traverse, and empty. These are four operations which we will be concentrating on here. Insert operation. Okay, we insert operation. It is operation which can be used to insert a data record, insert an item anywhere inside the general list. Where that element is to be placed, we need to have you know we need to have search where the element is to be inserted. Okay, so that's, we assume that the list is sorted in nature, so that we can try to find where the new element has to be searched, and it has to be inserted, or it has to be deleted. Okay, and the searching operation is done at the implementation level, that is not at abstract data level. So this is a diagrammatic representation how the list is managed. Before insertion, say this is the list 10, 20, 30. These are the three elements of the list, and the operation we use will insert function with the list name and the element which we want to add. And this is how, for example, if we want to add the element after 20, so we have to insert list and element, so it will insert 25 after 20. So this is how the element will be inserted in the list. As insertion, we can follow the delete operation. To delete an element from the list, the function will be delete list name, target, and element. And it is something very similar to the function shift function, which we discussed, the shift function which we discussed in what we call as in Perl. Okay, there's another operation called retrieve operation. Retrieve means if you want to access the single element of the list, we use the retrieve operation. The retrieve function will work like retrieve list name comma target comma element. Target means from where we want to retrieve, and the which element we want to retrieve. Okay, for example, if we want to retrieve target is 25, and this element will be retrieved. Retrieve means it will not be deleted from the list, but it will be retrieved. The value stored at that particular element will be retrieved for any use. Okay, traverse operation is another very important operation in when we deal with the list. The traverse means we are going to each and every element, and we are retrieving each and every element. Not we are retrieving randomly, or not. We are not retrieving a particular element of the list, but we are going to each and every element. Traverse means we are trying to visit each and every place in the list, which we are trying to visit each and every element in the list, and whatever we can retrieve that element. Okay. So traverse will is the concept of traverse is implemented by traverse function, traverse list name and action. Okay. And as in other data types, empty operation, it checks the status of the list, whether the list is empty or it has some element. Okay. So this is a general definition of the list of sorted data items. And something very important, all the elements in the list, they should be of same type. If list is an integer of integers, so all elements need to be integers. Okay. And these are the different various operations which we can perform on the list. List has many different applications, like assessing, randomly assessing the elements. We can randomly assess the element using the retrieve function, or we can sequentially assess the element using the traverse function. Okay. And list can be implemented in form of arrays or using linked list. Okay. After the list, we have another important concept which is very important. It's called trees. Okay. What is a tree? A tree is a consist of a finite set of elements which are arranged in nodes, arcs, vertices, etc. So these elements A, B, C, the circle element, these are called the nodes. They are connected by the lines or arcs. Okay. The first row element A, it is called the root node. B, C, F are the internal nodes. Okay. And C, D, E, because they are the terminal nodes, they are also called the leaves of the tree. So what we in a tree, in tree we divided we can divide the data at the tree into vertices of the tree into three categories: root, uh, then there's a leaf, then there's an internal node. Root has outgoing arc. Yes, it can has zero or more outgoing arc. Leaf is the end node, so it will not have any outgoing or further connection. Internal nodes can also have one or more different categories, what are different branches, we can say. Physical structure of the tree. Okay, so this is another concept of a subtree. Just a minute. Yeah. Okay. So each node in a tree, it can be a subtree. The subtree can have one of its children, include one of the children and all the descendant of the child. For example, the A is a root and E is a subtree E. Then B is also a B is a subtree. In B, there are another two subtrees, two more branches like subtree C and subtree D, and so on in the right side here also. And this is the physical structure of the tree as the hierarchical studies which we have done in genetics, like the parent, there are childs, there are further child, the grandchilds and grandparents. So that type of hierarchy is always followed in the tree. There's a special category of trees called a binary tree. A binary tree is a tree in which no node can have more than two subtrees. So maximum number of nodes, maximum number of subtrees which are allowed is only two. No node can have maximum two subtree. It can have two subtrees, it can have one subtree, or it can have zero subtree. Okay. For example, this is a root, and in on the left side, B, C, D, B is a subtree, and the further B has C and D two branches. In the right hand side, E is a subtree, it has only one branch F. So they are satisfying the conditions, like they are not having more than two. In left side there are two branches, subtrees, and in the right side there's one subtree. So this is a binary tree. Okay. Okay. One important definition of the binary tree is that a binary tree can have a root, but each subtree can also have a root. So binary tree can have a root, and subtrees can also have a root. And this is the important definition of a binary tree. Now, how we traverse binary tree? There are three different types of the different ways in which we can traverse. We can go through the binary tree. Each node should be, in traversal, we want that each node of the tree be processed once and only once in a predetermined sequence. So there are three different type of traversals, like pre-order traversal, in-order traversal, and post-order traversal. Okay, and also with respect to the traversal, there are two type of algorithms called depth first algorithm and breadth first traversal algorithm, which are used to traverse the binary tree. We will be discussing these concepts in more detail. Pre processing order. Okay, so this is a pre-order example of a pre-order traversal, like A. From A we go to B, then C, then D, then back to, E and F. Okay, the traversal sequence will be A, B, C, D, E, and F. Okay, so it means that in the pre-order traversal, we visit the node when we pass from its left side. So if you see this example in the walking order, so we start from here, we go to A number one, then go to B number two, then go to C number three, then go to D number four, then go to E number five, and then go to F number six. So this is a walking order, and this type of strategy is called the depth first, because we are going to the when we start from the first node, we go to the end of that particular branches. Then all the branches, we traverse all the branches in that node, come back, then go to the second part, come back to the third part, and so on. That's why it is called the depth first algorithm. Okay, similar to this algorithm, we have another implementation of the algorithm in which we have a breadth first traversal. Okay, it's a processing order. Is from A we go to B, then to E, then to C, D, and F. So we are horizontal. We are covering the horizontal node first. So this is called. That's why it's called the breadth first search algorithm. Okay. After these trees, we also have a graphs. So what is graph? Graph is also an abstract data type. It is made of set of nodes called vertices, and they are connected by